Hey guys, welcome to another session of Epic 7. So today we're going to be doing Bikin's review. So I know I'm a bit late to the game and there's a lot of opinions out there. You know, there's like kind of a split. People are saying that she's really OP. Some people are saying that she sucks. And, you know, making fun of that she's just like a hybrid copy and paste of like Corinne and Surin. And I said that during the RBTL. I made those exact same statements. I'm like, huh, she looks exactly like them. But of course, every new hero brings a new aspect to the game, and you know, little tweaks in their kit really make them different because it benefits the entire team comp differently. So Baiken has things that Surin nor Corinne have, and of course vice versa. But I'm gonna try to do my best to give like an unbiased review. All right, an unbiased review in the terms of we're just gonna take a look at her kit, kind of go through like theory crafts of like how to gear her. So if you are like, let's say, free to play, of course we know that Dizzy's gonna be coming. Everybody's really hyped. You know, if she's the second week, it's most likely, you know, Smilegate's like trying to milk us the first week on Baiken, so the free to play will have to break their free to play mode and have to spend a bit more just to get Dizzy. You know, whatever your speculations are, I'm gonna take Baiken as she is. So we're just gonna deal with that. Okay, whether or not you should be pulling for her, of course that is up to you at the end of this review. And I'm gonna leave that up to you guys because I know, you know, if you guys are watching, you know, you're looking for information, you guys are smart, you guys can make your own decisions. Alright, so this is my Bikin right now. She's not a 6-star awaken at the moment. I'm on the fence of whether I will do that for her, but that's probably because of the gear I've kind of forced on her. First things first, we're gonna take a look at her skills. So if anyone knows that her base attack HP, her base stats are pretty much the same as Sez and Violet. They take the same catalyst, same star sign, of course, just a different element compared to Sez, which means it's pretty decent HP for Thief, pretty decent speed, and pretty decent attack. So all-rounder is very good. Here's my stats right now, but we're going to take a look at my kit later and why I kind of went with this set. Alright, so I'm going to take a look at the skills first. So first things first, let's take a look at the S3 going downwards. So in terms of S3, I really do think that her S3 is really what's kind of giving her the edge. One, that she has this detonating. So a new game mechanic introduced into the game. She has detonation, which based on the description on their on the news video, they were saying that detonate, basically it just, what we realized at least, detonation is just it takes all of the debuffs. So let's say if you have, you know, 2 debuffs on bleed, but it has 2 turns each, so that's 4 ticks of bleed. So if you have 4 ticks of bleed, what detonation does is that it takes the damage that would have done over time and just adds it to the end of your damage. So basically it removes the debuffs, but you get it instantly. Now the benefit of detonating, of course, is that on a turn, let's say Destina's in the party, you're fighting on in PvP, or a boss you're fighting in PvE has a cleanse on the next turn. So for example, like Golem, alright, Golem 11, his tree friend there not only heals him, but he also cleanses him. So instead of like waiting for the bleeds to actually take their turn to do the damage effect, you can detonate it immediately, so you get the additional damage. Now of course, I'm not quite sure at this point because she's the only clear new detonator in the game. I'm not quite sure if all detonation effects have the exact same mods. So, but at least for Bikin, when you detonate the bleed, it's all the summation of your bleed together with a 30% more damage. So whatever the amount of bleed you have, you times it by 1.3 when you're doing the math. All right, so 30% more damage. So of course, the benefit of, you know, people not being able to cleanse away the bleed, you get all the bleed in one go, and a 30% additional damage. Detonation is spectacular. It's an awesome mechanic, but it's not super broken. Bikin, I think from what I see, she can be built in a couple different roles. One, she's a CR booster, a really good one to boot. You can see that I have upgraded this to +4, so I'm at 25%. 25% is Judith S3 to +2, Ruzid S3 to +5, so maximum. Alright, 25% is very good. 1/4 of the timeline, it can cut into anyone with fast speed even, so it's really good for your team. Now of course, all of her skill sets, as we're going to read here, does require a critical hit for you to pull off these additional effects. So you know, that depends if you can get the critical hit chance really high. As you saw my stats there, and we're going to take a look at it, it's not super high, but you know, that's kind of just me being being too overconfident with my crit chance. Everyone knows, if you're watching my GVG videos, I have a notoriously bad crit chance. Even if my crit chance is really high, like a 98% chance crit for Sid, I can't even land a critical hit. It's really insane. But anyways, that's besides the point. Because it has a CR boost, she can be actually a really good first turn CR booster. I think, if I'm not mistaken, she has actually the same base speed as Ruzid. So if you build her as, let's say, a CR booster, one benefit is you can get CR boost on first turn. If you have a critical hit on the S2, it gains you an extra turn, and so you actually can get a nuke, a single target nuke into a CR boost, which actually, you know, is greatly more beneficial than Ruz's CR boost. But of course, Ruz's is set up for multiple turns after because he gives a speed buff. So again, you can't really compare, but when you're comparing usages, I kind of like that aspect, that you can build her as a first turn CR booster or even possibly a second turn CR booster. You know, it's really interesting to have. But of course, if you do have her at, let's say, 100% critical hit, and you're facing now predominantly ice meta, especially in PvP or GVG, we still have DN floating around, Angelica floating around, Luna floating around, Crow floating around. Of course, Tywin is still used sometimes. A ton of ice heroes that are like pretty fundamental in building the entire team. Oh, okay. Aline just confirmed on stream here. He says it's one less than Ruzid. One less than Ruzid. So it's not that bad. You're not gonna be like, you know, that one speed is not gonna make a difference with your speed set, the 25% increase. But yeah, so anyways, if you have her, you know, that's one of the builds that you can think about. I think the S3 also benefits if you have her as a second turn CR booster. Or what I mean is that, you know, let's say you ran like Suri or Scurry. I say Scurry, but I know people are correcting me saying it's Suri. Let's say if you ran Suri on first turn, you pump up everyone's CR, and you want Suri to come back again before the enemy has a turn. Her going, let's say, like turn, like as your third hero or even the fourth hero on the last, having that extra 25% CR boost can actually possibly, depending on the speed of the heroes there, possibly push up Suri again for him to use his S1 critical hit, and then push up your team again, so that the other team, the enemy team, doesn't have time to go. So it's actually very cool that she has this as an added benefit to an already insanely high nuking damage. Now I will say this, so we have data mines of the damage mods for her detonation, and of course for all her skills. So I'm gonna read this out right now because I'm gonna get to it later. The S1 has a 1 times physical damage mod, which is cool. S2 has a 1.2 times. I'm gonna get about the 1.2 times in a bit. It's actually very strong. It's very strong. And then the very last one has a 1.6. So 1.6 is the same as Sid's S3, same as Luna's S3, no soul burn. If you do soul burn it, it has a 1.85 times, which of course when you soul burn it compared to Sid or Luna, it does fall flat in terms of that. But of course I really do think her kit is not really relying on a high damage mod, even though a 1.6 is insanely strong already by itself. You don't really need to compete with the Sid and the Lunas out there, because her whole thing is if you land the bleed, you know, prior to doing your S3, or if they have bleed, or if they have just bleeds. If they have bleeds, she's gonna do an insane amount of damage because of the amount of bleeds that detonate, right? 30% extra damage with all the bleeds going in at once, exploding at once. So very strong. Again, I mean, if you are trying to do a finisher and you have 10 souls, it's still cheap, right? 1.85 times, of course, you get an extra 25% more damage. You may as well do it, right? Multiply that by your critical hit damage. And I'm going to get into that in a bit, the critical hit damage as well. So in the S2, it does work like Corinne. A critical hit grants you an extra turn. So, I mean, I have RNL right now. I want a torn sleeve, and I'm going to get to torn sleeve in a bit too, because if you are pulling for Baiken, you might be pulling torn sleeve, and I would like to give my review on that as well. But anyways, I have upgraded this up to an 80% chance to inflict up to 3 bleeds. That's insanely high. Now, the only thing is obviously if the enemy you fight has really high resistance, it's a 3 separate chance, right? 3 separate chance to proc 80% where I am enhanced right now. If their effect resistance is high, you might get 1, you might get 2, you might luckily get 3 bleeds. But again, keep in mind that you are rolling at not a 100%. It's at 80%, so there's 20% chance that you don't even proc one of the rolls, or 2, or even 3 again. So sometimes I've come out of the entire thing using an S2 without 1 single bleed. Of course, that's very unlucky, but I think you do want to mold this up to at least +4. If you really want to invest in her and to see the benefit of her, like I said, her S3 really benefits from having bleeds before she even goes use the S3. So if you don't have these upgraded, I would even say don't even bother upgrading the S3. As you can see, there's no reduction in cooldown, but combat readiness is nice to have. Alright, so grants an extra turn if you critical hit. Now of course, S1, it's if you crit, you get reduced cooldown for 1 turn. Again, that's very much like Corinne, except that Corinne has a 6 turn cooldown if you enhance it, but she has 7, so it does take her a bit more. I believe that her linking RNL wouldn't be as awesome as Corinne's, but still is very good. If you can gamble on certain turns and you have sorry, I'm just looking at the stream chat here. Red Ruby says, isn't Luna 1.5? Is it 1.5? I swear it was 1.6, but I could be wrong. Oh, you might be right. Her soul burn is the same as Sid, but yeah, you might be right. It is 1.5. So yeah, the S1. I'm on the fence myself of whether to get an extra 15% effect chance. So to get it to +4, you know, this can be easily like very good. Again, S1 is inflict 2 bleed, all right, up to a 70% chance to inflict 2 bleed, whereas the S2 has 80% chance to inflict 3 bleeds. If you have the torn sleeve artifact, you're looking at, if it's like a full rotation, if you don't go for the straight S3, you're looking at least, I don't know, well, actually no, even if you have torn sleeve, you would still go S2 into S3, I think. But three bleeds here, and then another additional 1 with the torn sleeve if it procs, right? So that's 4 right there. If you are using torn sleeve but for multiple turns, of course you can get up to 3 here. And torn sleeve does also proc the bleed on the S3, which usually doesn't proc a bleed. It will give you an additional 1, which is pretty insane if you imagine how many bleeds you get. But if you are investing in her, I do think that she's worth going +4, +4, +4, because I do think that her S3 mods, even after soul burn, is a bit too low. I don't know if the 15% damage, you know, increase is worth it on the S3. But like I said, I think she's gonna be way better relying on the detonation. So rather getting that into a +5, S3 into +5, save the Molagora onto the S1 and the S2 to get them all to +4. +4ing the S3, I would say actually lower benefit if you don't care about the combat readiness, but again, I think it's a nice to have. So I really do think that she's actually worth going +4, +4, +4 if you're gonna take her seriously. Now I'm gonna talk about her build a bit. My build right here is a rage set. Now I do think that a rage set is kind of cool on her with RNL mainly. Now if you guys see my poll video, I tried to go for torn sleeve. I didn't get it. You can see my imprint is at a B right now, so that means I got 2 Baiken. I didn't get torn sleeve on both Baikens. My second Baiken, at least luckily I didn't get to pity. But I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm gonna go to Bikin the second time, get to pity, hopefully I get torn sleeve. But I got Bikin on like, I don't know, like 30 bookmarks or something like that. So I'm like, dang it. So it's just a sign I'm not meant to get torn sleeve. It's very nice to have. Where torn sleeve I think would benefit is if you do have I wouldn't bother with rage set, to be honest. If you have torn sleeve, you can still think about it if you can make up the stats for it. But with RNL, I think rage set works better. I'm going to quickly get to Torn Sleeve first, actually, before I even get to my build. So Torn Sleeve itself, if you guys know the description, at a max 1 copy of it, max enhanced at a plus 15, is up to a 75% chance to proc an additional bleed. Now apparently that bleed does proc, as long as it procs even if you miss the hero. So let's say it's on a fire hero, even if you miss them, it still can proc the bleed. If you get, of course, the maximum amount of copies, you can get up to 100%. Now at a 100%, I think that's just insane. Now I think if you do have Torn Sleeve, she would be used as like a 1-turn nuker. You would pretty much go S2, hopefully you get a critical hit. If you do get a critical hit, that's already maximum up to 4 bleeds, and then you go straight into the S3. If you get a proc before the detonation, because the detonation happens at the end of the turn, you can proc an additional bleed with the Torn Sleeve artifact. So that means it's 5 bleed. So 5 bleed doing that much damage, like it would be insane. It should be enough to like one-shot any Angelica, even with like a beefy Angelica too. I'm saying that even with Aureus blanket. So if someone has an Aureus on the team, it should be able to one-shot her no problem. Like let's say like 70,000, 18,000 HP, 1200 defense, should be able to one-shot pretty easily. I've been doing about like 10k damage just with the S2 alone, with on Angelica with Aureus. So I'm pretty sure you can one-shot it. You might even be able to one-shot knights like Crow. You might be able to. I haven't tested it myself, but I'm pretty sure you can. But that's where I think Torn Sleeve artifact is used for. Low turn count, you want to get as much damage as possible right away. I would say Torn Sleeve is the best there is there. Now I know a lot of people are saying that Torn Sleeve is a crappy artifact because RNL exists. RNL is very RNG. I mean, you're talking about like up to maximum, if you max this to plus 30, which I don't have the copies for, a 20% chance to proc an additional turn. An additional turn might get you 2 bleeds. It might get you 2 more bleeds, but you know, versus a 75% proc chance versus my 15 right now, 75% proc chance on Torn Sleeve to get an extra bleed, or 15% chance to get an extra turn, which I might not be able to do it, and I'm still rolling my S1 bleed. So what I mean is, if you do this, if you do the S2, RNL has this benefit. You do an S2, you see the RNL stack, you know you have an extra turn, you can actually go in S1 and then go in S3, alright? So, I mean, to each their own, like if you want to take that gamble, if you have Torn Sleeve and you're using her for PvP or GVG scenarios, I would actually recommend using Torn Sleeve. That's myself. Of course, I'm defaulting to RNL because I don't have Torn Sleeve. RNL is actually really good for farming. I actually use it for Banshee, and so far so good. And then RNL is kind of what made me theorycraft this kind of rage set build. So of course, if you know rage set and what it does an additional 30% damage if the target is debuffed. So of course, because she can apply her own debuffs with all the number of rolls of bleed, you get that 30% additional damage. Now the rage set, from my understanding, rage set modifiers come before the critical hit damage. So if you have really high critical hit damage, the rage set has really high benefits. Now there is an interesting thing about Baiken that I would have to say that I'm kind of like on the fence about in terms of how you build her. You know, generally I always say this: attack times critical hit damage, you find the summation of that number. So mine 3273 times 2.46 critical hit damage, or 246%, gives me a total of 8051.58. Now that number seems, it doesn't mean anything to anyone, but that number is a really good number to kind of compare other builds to. So yesterday I was talking to Aline, so one of my guild mates, friends on Discord. He showed me his Baiken. His Baiken is about like 3,700 attack, 220 plus critical hit damage, somewhere around there. His total is about 8,300. So no matter how you cut it, he's doing more damage, because even if with critical hit damage, he's still doing more damage. But what's beneficial about Aline's build is a 3,700 attack. If you know that bleed does additional damage, but it's based on the caster's attack. It's skill from the caster's attack with, I think it's a 70% ignore defense on the opponent. his, no matter what, would be better, because when he does the detonation does the bleed damage. The detonation is not affected by critical hit damage, is not affected by the rage set. The detonation damage, it does the same modification as if you were bleeding someone, so it's a scale from attack. But if you scale it from attack, and with the 30% detonation, Aline's Baiken is far superior than mine. So when you are building Baiken, she's one of the, in the rare cases, one of those ones that you do want to emphasize attack over critical hit damage. But again, I'm going to say this. There is of course a downside if you are on the fine line of not being able to hit that ratio properly. If you are in high-end GVG or arena, most likely a lot of people are going to be running immunity sets, very high effect resistance sets, or effective resistance stats rather. So you might not be able to get as many bleeds as you possibly could. All right. Now with the teams are being very speedy, unless you're doing go straight for an S2 into an S3, people might have potion vial, have like all these different skills that just cleanses the entire team. So like Kitty Clarissa, potion vial of course is one of the things. Diane does an annoying job already, just cleansing one debuff, etc. It's going to be very hard. So this is where I think, if you are building Baiken, building her with a rage set is not a high priority. I did it because I thought it was really cool, because she could do her own debuffs, get that extra 30% damage in, which is really cool. Like I said, for farming, for hunts, it's pretty decent so far. But again, in my whole build, I'm lacking a ton of stuff. I'm lacking speed. Critical hit chance has to be higher there because all of her skills benefit from critical hit chance. 88% is not cutting it unless you're going straight for ice heroes. Effectiveness is pretty decent. I got it all from the substats. I'll show you guys the stats on my gear in a sec. But again, I think I'm gonna revamp her. I think I'm gonna totally ditch this whole gear set. I'm gonna give it to Celestial Mercedes. I think this is a perfect set for her. But that's a story of it for another time. So later on, if I ever do a feature of ML Mercedes, you guys will see this whole set going to her. It's actually perfect for her. Anyway, so these are the kind of the stats I rolled this. So this was the event whip there. Rolled pretty high critical hit damage, so it was good on her. This one I got from Queen, of course. High critical hit damage. Originally I was thinking, I'll be able to get really high attack, it's fine, like go critical hit damage and rage, it's gonna do a ton of damage, and I'm not sold on it. Like I said, is my honest review on this. So critical hit chance is very high on this one. This is why I went with it. Rolled kind of salty with a 20% health, but it's not bad. I went with this necklace. Has a 23% effectiveness, 3 speed, 5 attack, and a crit damage, of course. This one rolled really well. A Wyvern drop, 60% attack ring, very rare with a crit set. I've been always wanting something like this, and of course, critical hit chance rolled super high. This ring will probably be my baby for the longest time, and I don't know. This can work on any single one of my heroes and totally like make them way better. But right now it's on Bikin, just for now. This boot, I think I should have just gotten a better one. But again, high critical hit chance there and a 60% attack. So very simple build, and we're gonna do a couple runs, and just to show you guys kind of like Baiken and how to use her. If you're a new player, you'll probably watch like other people's content, and whatever they say, if she's OP, if she's not good, again, I think it's a matter of opinion, a matter of how you play the game, a matter of who you have. I will say this though, we're gonna go to Banshee. We're gonna try this. On Banshee, she's actually not that good because I can possibly lose. But I'm gonna do one Banshee. I might do one Leela Violin run because I'm actually trying to go for it. I need one more. I will say this: if you are a player that has had Luna and you had Surmia, her role is more likely than not a nuker. All right, she's an Earth nuker. If you have Yufine, I think Yufine does a better job than Baiken. But now again, just to keep in mind that because of different classes, she's a thief class, she has access to different artifacts. Now later on, as Small Gates release new heroes, we might get new thief artifacts that really can make her even shine even more than RNL. You can never know. My advice is, because she's a limited hero, and if you really wanted to go for Dizzy and you had enough to pity summon Dizzy, I would say spend a bit for Baiken. I would say that we don't know what what the future holds, and so she might be worth it in the long run. Right now, how I'm using her, again, as you can tell by my speed, is I'm using her as an Earth nuker. I have an Ice nuker in Luna, I have a Fire nuker in Surmia, I don't have Yufine, and I really do think that she fits the Earth nuke pretty well. Now with RNL, of course, she brings a lot of other benefits as well, but anyways, let's do this run. So I'm gonna catch up on the stream chat a bit here as we're autoing this. I will take control of the manual if I think that there's an opportunity to kind of showcase her skills a bit more.
Yes.
I'll carve you up.
So in terms of sets and gear, I think that you can go, if you're a new player. This is where I think that you could benefit. If you're a new player, you have access to the arena gear. They're level 88 gear. All of the gear in that shop, in the arena shop, are actually good for her. All right. Minus that you might want to replace some gear with some speed. She does need quite a bit of speed. I would say get her to 150 as a start would be already really good if you're going for like a second turn CR booster. But if you're a new player and you're lacking some gear, you have some top tier gear in the arena gear. A critical hit chance necklace with attack set, which benefits Baiken's build, and you have critical hit damage substats within all of the gear pretty much. So
Excuse me.
again, if you're free to play, if you're free to play, if you pull Baiken, you pretty much have really top tier gear till very end game. All right, so that's just my advice there.
Death is your repentance.
Lawton asked Jagan, Torn Sleeve versus Dust Devil for Baiken artifact. 100% has to be Torn Sleeve in my opinion. The reason is because her S2 can already grant an extra turn, so she'll reduce her cooldown already in the S1. Obviously, if you don't have Torn Sleeve artifact, I would say Dust Devil, of course, is a benefit if you don't have RNL, because you can reduce the cooldown. But then, I don't know, I would still select Torn Sleeve myself, just because I do think that she can get her cooldowns quick enough. And again, Dust Devil max level, you get a 30% chance to proc it, but a Torn Sleeve artifact maximum at a plus 15 even. Dust Devil plus 15, I think 25% chance to proc. So I've got an RNL proc there. Wind Rider has real potential in PvP. I don't know. Well, look at the RNL proc there. See, that's very, very nice. If RNL procs, Bikin looks really cool. Right, if RNL doesn't proc, Bikin doesn't look as cool. Wind Rider, yeah, Wind Rider does have, but you have to kill. That's the thing. Like, you have to ensure you can kill with the S2 though, with Wind Rider. So I would say Wind Rider, it can work on any thief to be honest, but I would say Wind Rider is very, very low priority. So for example, Wind Rider is really good on Sid because that's 3 nuke. You want to get that first because he can get a second turn. Kayron Wind Rider would work too because his S3 is a strong nuke. And of course he can benefit from the second turn. But for Biken, unless you can ensure the kill, it's not going to really benefit her. Because if you kill on S3, your S1, S2, yes, is stronger, but it doesn't ensure a big difference, I guess. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it, at least. My lovely form says she's gonna sit on the bench for me forever unless buffed. She's level 60 now though. Okay, so I've already noticed in top tier arena, and what I mean is just like champion arena, people are running Baiken already and using Baiken for offensive teams, and I really do think that she has a place. She definitely has a place. You can see that additional damage at the end. It kind of procs like Iberia's Tooth,
Excuse me.
but that's the detonation.
And slice.
Again, like I said, I think I'm gonna have to kind of readjust her kit a bit. Try to get her to at least the 3,500 attack, and then try to aim for like 220% crit damage, and definitely more speed. I might look into a speed set with attack boots and attack ring, and we'll see what kind of subsets I get. Maybe critical hit chance necklace, or critical hit damage, or even attack necklace would work for her if you can make up the substats. If you get like, let's say 200% critical hit damage, but you could get about like a 4k attack, I think that's a really good start. She can, if you go for a 60% attack necklace, 60% attack ring, 60% attack boot, she can easily get 4k attack. So that's really strong. As you can see there, RNL again, she's dead. We didn't get the S3, you guys didn't see that massive damage there, but hold on, let me do another run here. So it's pretty cool. I mean, because Sid, even though Sid has Wind Rider, ideally if I had another RNL, Sid would be using RNL on that one. I think it makes farming easier. Oh, that's crap. That's pretty crap. You can see the RNL, I mean, it's pretty decent, but it just never, RNL just never procs for me during, what's it called, during PvP, which kind of sucks. But for PvE, she really looks really cool. Hold on, let me quickly get some more energy, and we're gonna do a Leela Violin run. For the Leela Violin run, I'm actually gonna sort of feature Soul Bad Guy, even though I'm going to say right now, if you guys are waiting for my Soul Bad Guy review, wait a bit, because Soul Bad Guy is free. So, you know, there's no hesitation on whether you should pull for him, because there's no pulling. You just grind him, you can get him. So I'm gonna push Soul Bad Guy's review probably at the very end, and just looking at how to build him. I've kind of roughly built my Soul Bad Guy here, so I'm gonna quickly show his gear. It's not top tier, of course. He really needs, again, more critical hit chance, but I kind of like slapped on some gear for him for now. I was using him to farm, because he has Junkyard Dog now, I was using him to farm the event currency. But he's actually looking pretty decent, and he performed really well. I was doing a couple of Leela Violin runs. This is what he looks like right now. 245 crit damage. This thing has another like 15, so he'll be like over 250% crit damage for sure, because if you know that he actually does that HP damage to bosses, so if you can get crit damage high with critical hit chance, of course you need that critical hit chance, he'll do a lot of damage for high HP bosses. So like for Golem and for this Leela Violin run for Champion Zerato, we'll see here. So I'm gonna go with the team that I went with. I believe it was team 7. One sec. Team 8? Might be team 8. Okay, if it's not, I'll just redo team 8 here. I'm gonna put in, I used Ken here, and we'll try to do a showcase of her detonation. All right, so I'm gonna do Soul Bad Guy, and then I put in DN. DN, I still choose her because of a 3-turn attack buff is just insane. She's still really broken. And another reason again why I'm saying pull for Baiken is because she's limited. So far, Small Guy has been doing really good justice to limited heroes, especially pullable ones. Ruby's just making fun of me. He's like, I mean, you can farm 2,500 currency in a day just with free stamina. No man, I need Junkyard Dog. All right, I need Junkyard Dog. Soul is better than Baiken, says Mortem. They're different. They're different. I will say though, I said this on RBTL that Soul Bad Guy being a free hero is definitely insanely good, and that really speaks well to Smilegate. It shows them that they're still willing to give like really OP free stuff, so like it can kind of lighten the weight on if you're a free to play player. But again, because they do different things, you can't say one is better than the other. I guess you can only say that for free hero, he seems to shine more. Yeah, he seems to be bringing like more to his kit. But to be honest, I think his HP is a bit too low for my liking. But again, I think he should be focused on speed. And again, this is not a sole bad guy review. We're gonna try to do the best we can here.
Here. My goddess. Grant me the power to
D-Zone22 says if you have both Torn Sleeve and Junkyard Dog on 2 heroes, you get 84 currency per hell run. Oh, that's a lot. I'm getting 69, I believe, with Junkyard Dog at a +3. I'm not gonna like spend the what's it called, the charms on it, but I think that Junkyard Dog is okay. I actually saw a Luna use Junkyard Dog in PvP. I was surprised. It didn't really do much, but I mean, burn is kind of cool, I guess, if you have a really high attack hero. And in terms of Luna, I guess it kind of works. But still, I would still give Luna something else other than Junkyard Dog. Asian Commander, hey you dude, thank you for the host, man. So bad guy is gonna be good in three weeks. Everyone takes off Junkyard Dog and push Asian Joker. Oh yeah, totally, Ricklington. I do agree. I mean, of course there's another reason why I've left. Hold on, I'm gonna manual this for a sec.
Let's advance together.
There's a reason why my soul bad guy, everyone's soul bad guy should be level 50. If you're a new player, you know, don't 6-star him. Apparently you can get him to SSS imprint, so for free. You just gotta wait. So I think everyone's soul bad guy should be stuck at 50, unless you're a mega whale and you're trying to prove something. Alright, I'm gonna try to set up, if I can, Baiken's crap. Yeah, so that's Bikin's, sorry, that's Soul Bad Guy's S2 at work there. Attacked by bosses or elite monsters. His S2 passive kicks in, he counters. Alright, so I'm gonna try to set up here, if I can proc an RNL. No RNL proc. My damage is, my attack is actually unbuffed, so 1 sec.
I believe this is what the goddess wills, you pitiful beings. Death is your repentance.
Defense is broken here. Let's see how much damage you can do. Even though I have just lost it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ticks of bleed right there. So that's actually gonna, of course, affect our thing. And I think he might be faster than me anyway. I'm gonna keep his defense broken.
Try and dodge this.
Burn.
I believe this is what the goddess wills.
So judging by the reading, the detonation mechanic in the future, you might get heroes that could detonate burns. You might get heroes that could detonate, like, you know, other stuff. Oh, he debuffed my attack buff. Ah, frick. Okay, it's okay. I'm just gonna do it. Only 5 ticks of bleed though. So, you know, if RNL had proc, we're gonna get easily 10 bleeds right there. And I wasn't able to critical hit. You see? 88% is not that good. So 17, an additional 5,000 damage there. So additional 5,000 damage only on 5 ticks of bleed. You know, that's enough. That's enough to take out an Angelica. Now, of course, we don't know Zerato's defense. At least I don't. I'm not quite sure. But
I'll knock your teeth out.
and I didn't crit. No, well, one thing to note is that the bleed, the detonation is not affected by the crit, right? So the detonation is not affected by crit damage. So yes, I didn't crit on the base damage, but the additional bleed damage with the detonate was 5,000 regardless, even if I did crit, right, going into it. Actually, I'm gonna run it one more time.
I have lots of good wares.
Okay, so I'm gonna get some energy here. Ooh, I forgot to buy this. Actually, forgot to buy my Malagora. So we're gonna just do a couple more runs here, and I'm just gonna end off this review. Is 40 energy? Oh, I'll be capped. I don't like capping my energy, man. Even if it's only 7, you don't want to cap it, man. You want every single second to count in this game. Oops, that's a hunt challenge. Zerato. Let's do it one more time here. I also like doing the Zerato challenge. I left the Leela violin because I knew I was gonna level up my heroes, and I did level them up through this, but I still need one more Leela violin to get it max enhanceable. So you're just gonna gotta watch this a bit. Cause I like the background music to this too. So I'm slowing down my E7 playtime to save my leaves. Oh, okay. People are talking about the energy and how to use them. Oh, so that was what was that, 13,000? I don't think I had proc to bleed, right? I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I don't think I had a bleed on that. So 13,000 damage. Of course, with rage set, I wanted to see the damage difference here. But again, the rage set, it will go straight to ML Mercedes.
I'll knock you into next week.
Volcanic Viper. So again, it's the S2 proc once every 2 turns. So the damage is pretty good. You can see that. Oh, RNL is procced. Nice. So I'm not quite sure actually. I'm gonna put this on the video recording and even also for the people on stream. It's my understanding, either I'm really unlucky, but it's my understanding is that if RNL procs and you use the same skill twice, you can't proc it the second time, correct? I'm not sure if I'm just unlucky or not. So from my observation, RNL only procs when you have swapped the skill. Alright? I'm not quite sure if that's true though, but that's correct. Okay, Ecto Rocket. Okay, so yeah, so in that case, when you saw Baiken, you know, already finished using upper S3, even if she procs the RNL on S2 and then on the S1 again, it's not gonna benefit if she doesn't get an S3. But by that time, you won't be able to get enough turn cooldown for the S2 to use again. So you have to kind of, for the best combo, you have to have her S3 available.
Make my day.
Right, Ecto Rocket, right. So best case scenario would be S2, if you have all your skills, S2 proc, let's see, S2 proc RNL, go to S1 proc RNL, go to S3, you might be able to proc RNL, and then you go back to S1, and then you might be able to proc RNL, but then you still wouldn't get S2 back. I think that's the case. So I think at the end, she has just as many combos as Corinne does. So like Corinne has a maximum of 6 if you do her turn rotation correctly, and if RNL procs on every single one, I think she can get up to 6. So I think what I counted was 6 for Bikin as well, but I could be mistaken here. Okay, he's dying too quick. I was gonna with the defense break here. Oh, burn and bleed. Hopefully we can set up this. Oh crap. Yeah, so Soul Bad Guy is really cool. As you can see, like he just seems to be he seems like he's doing stuff all the time, which is kind of why I like him. He has double turns on certain scenarios. He has, you know, he can counter if you're doing PvP or PvE or even, yeah, PvP or PvE. If they hit him, sorry, PvE, PvP. If they do a skill that's not damaging skill, he can proc his S2. If you get hit by elite monster or boss, he gets another turn too, which is pretty cool. All right, so here we go. Let's see if we can. I think he's already dead. Crap, he's already dead. Well, that was 21,000 damage, as you can see, but that was with a defense, almost 20,000 damage. Let me see. I'm looking at the stream delay here. 23,000 damage. Of course, there's rage set in there and a high critical hit damage, but again, we didn't get to see the nuke. So the nuke, based on what we did before, based on the bleeds that were on screen right there, I would have gotten maybe like additional 7k damage, so about 40,000. But of course, he had a defense break and whatnot. So yeah, at the end of the day, she is pretty cool. She's pretty cool. Like I said, if you are missing nukers, single target nukers, I think she's pretty decent to go for. But again, because at this point we don't know how good Dizzy will be, only one can speculate, one can dream. You know, is it worth, you know, skipping for Baiken? I'm not quite sure. I can't make the decision for you guys, but hopefully this review has been kind of helpful and to see like where you kind of use her. I'm gonna run one golem here. She needs skill ups. You're talking about Baiken?
Yep.
Yes. Well, arguably Ricklington, every single hero kind of needs skill ups. Outside of like, I don't know.
There is no mercy.
Yeah, everyone needs skill ups to really shine. She can still shine without skill ups. When I was farming, I didn't use any Malagora, and she procced her bleed like, you know, just as much. You know, it's RNG. Yes, you're lowering the probability of missing a chance of bleed, but still, it's pretty RNG. Okay, look at that RNL though. When RNL goes off, it is really cool though.
Go away.
When, you know, one says she needs it, but again, she works even without it. If you do have torn sleeve, you already have a higher proc chance. If you just max it to plus 15, you already have a higher proc chance than any of her innate skills without enhancements. So I don't know. Every hero would need Malagora, and yes, I would say that all of her skills kind of need it. Whereas there are some heroes you can just, you know, stick with the S1, S3, S2, or a mix of some of them. But yes, I would say that because her kit's so, like, so robust, I think, in terms of damage dealing, you really do want to invest in her. But again, to each your own. I don't think she's high priority, to be honest. I think she performs well even without, you know, a ton of Malagora. But that's my personal opinion though. I might lose to this golem. As you can see, actually, see, golem was the case here. Cleansed all those debuffs, right? So I'm gonna try to manual this part. You guys have seen me do auto golem runs with 2-man. So I mean, there's no way I can lose, I think, because I already have Ken and Tamarine, the two that were with my 2-man team. But I'm gonna try to do a manual here. See. The thing with Surmi on this team is that Bikin will never get the double attack.
Ultimate. Past our limits. The end.
Oh man, I'm almost dead already. Already removing the bleed there. Yeah, that's pretty annoying. Okay, let's hopefully we get a lucky well, one thing about this is that she'll lose her attack buff. Okay, so I already got an RNL proc too, right? So I got an RNL proc just to get the stream delay for a sec, just to make sure I didn't miss it. Yeah, I got an RNL, so I can actually do the S1 right now, and I can still go into the S3. So that's 8 bleeds. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! What the frick? Wow, that was so stupid. That was so stupid. Counters when I was about to show the damage, and she RNLs when she dies. That was so stupid. Oh my gosh. This is the kind of downside when you're doing a review live, because sometimes RNG just doesn't show. So it's like, man, feels bad, man. It feels bad, man. I got time to bet. I'm gonna manual golem because I gotta time it a bit better. I want to do the soul burn if I can. Oh man, that was hilarious. Crap.
Now, if you don't
Oh jeez.
Can you hold out much longer?
Jeez. That was so funny. Okay. I think by the time I get to golem, this will reset. So I will do this. And then now she doesn't proc RNL. Jeez, she procs it on her death, man. Feels bad, man. I think Banshee is still probably the better one to showcase it, because I could run DN for those buffs. Because RNL, because it's the second 2 turns and her S2 is 2 turns. She gets rid of her attack buffs too quick, so sometimes you won't even get an attack buff by the time you can do an S3. I know someone actually left a comment on YouTube saying that it'd be pretty cool using Alexa's basket on her. I'm kind of on the fence about that. I don't really think Alexa's basket's the best for her, because Alexa's basket is attacked the wrong person. Alexa's basket does it has a RNG chance too, and you can proc either attack or crit chance, which unless you Bikin has low crit, it's just not as good. That's just my opinion though.
I think I'm going.
For the healer, I shouldn't hit him for the counter attack. That's what I should have done. Okay, so he comes and slam. He's gonna critical hit again. I might not be able to beat it. That's so weird. Yeah, not Alexa's basket, I think.
I'll knock your teeth out.
He's gonna counter after this, isn't he? Oh, whatever. We'll try it. If I fail this, I'm just gonna cut this off, because I think you guys have seen enough in terms of how to use Baiken, and you know, not just from myself, but other content creators too.
You can't close your eyes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do this for sure.
To my song, I will shine, shine free.
Alright, so hopefully we can proc an RNL. Nope. Nope. When I don't want it, it doesn't happen. No, when I want it, it doesn't happen. Alright, I think he's gonna kill us on the next turn here. I'm gonna do as much damage as I can. I'm just gonna kill him off. I'm gonna kill him off. How to use Baiken? Venture and use something more useful? I don't get why people have such a problem with it, to be honest. Yeah, we're just gonna end it. Screw it. We got a ring in the process. Okay, so let me just and this sucks. Fodder, free fodder. All right, so let me just quickly end up my you know, thoughts again. Again, I've reiterated this throughout. If you have some spare resources, I would say definitely pull for her. I don't know, you know, people have kind of like waited up to this point. You're kind of like hindering your in-game progress, because you know, you could have leveled her all the way up to this point. But I totally understand the aspect that, you know, if you have limited resources, is she the limited hero to go for? And I will say, if you have Luna, if you have Surmia, and just these two alone, I would say you don't need her, because she's a single target nuker. At the end of the day, she's a single target nuker. In PvP and GVG, a lot of people running immunity, a lot of people have run high effect resistance, a lot of people, you know, and then you're rolling against some odds where can you even stick a bleed. If you can't stick a bleed on her, her mods are no better than Sid. Alright? Are no better than Sid. And so to me, my honest opinion is, if you have nukers, you don't need her. If you don't have nukers, definitely pull for her, because we still don't know whether or not she'll get buffs in the future, how Smilegate will treat their limited heroes, what artifacts are going to come down the line that could really make her even better, right? That's you don't know. So that's my honest opinion on it. And because we don't have information on how OP Dizzy is, and by the time that you know, they release info on Dizzy, they could release it later too. So you might not be able to pull Bikin even if you wanted her to, just, you know, at the very end, you know, if you saw Dizzy's kit, she's not as good, you got a ham on Bikin, you might not get the opportunity. So that's my thoughts on it. But just, everyone knows their own resources, so of course I can't hold you guys accountable to, you know, like, I've heard people like go all the way to pity, but if they're free to play, you know, they might be missing like 10 pulls until pity, and they haven't gotten Baiken. That really sucks, honestly. But that's the kind of gamble you have to do when you are playing a gacha game, I guess. Anyways, that's my thoughts on it. Hopefully this has been helpful, somewhat entertaining, especially my counter death on Golem. And yeah, that's it for this. And yeah, in the future, if I do rebuild her, I will make a future video on her, hopefully a better one than this, but this is kind of just gear that I had laying around. So anyways, I'm gonna end that there. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter and subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.